Hello, everyone. Welcome into the prediction. My name is Jonathan Messer, host of Booby Sports Show, and in this video, we're going to be predicting the BYU Texas Tech game. BYU ranked 7th, Texas Tech ranked 8th. These two are both in the midst of a playoff race, and it's shaping up to look like these two will be the two teams playing in the Big 12 championship game. So we're headed towards, even after this game, a collision course. So let's get into this a little bit. Let's break down BYU's offense to start. So BYU is the 88th passing offense. They're led passing by Bear Bachmeier. He's a freshman. We all know who he is. He's accounted for 11 touchdowns passing, but he can also run the ball. He's a great runner. I think he's their second leading rusher. So he adds that dimension in his game. Their leading rusher is L.J. Martin, who has 789 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he averages 6 yards a carry. So he's a great running back. Back to Bachmeier, though. He's only thrown for 1,693 yards. He's a freshman. His future looks bright, but we're in the immediate present. And we're going to have to see how he does against a pretty good Texas Tech team. Receiving-wise, they have two main guys who are really good. I really like Parker Kingston. He's got 34 receptions, 516 yards, and 4 touchdowns. And I really like Chase Brown as well. 32 receptions, 591 yards, and 4 touchdowns. So they've accounted for most of Bear Bachmeier's passing touchdowns. It's fine. I mean, you want your two guys to be that. Moving over to I forgot to mention, they're 35th ranked rushing offense, so they have a pretty good rushing attack. That's going to be a significant threat to Texas Tech, but Texas Tech, as we all know, is the number one rush defense. We'll get to that in a second. Let's talk a little bit about Texas Tech on offense. Baron Morton's back. They're the 3rd ranked pass offense, despite having 3 quarterbacks played this year. So I think that really goes to show how good these pass catchers are. I say pass catchers because I don't want to leave out Terrence Carter Jr., who is one of the best tight ends in college football, probably the second best tight end in the Big 12 behind Michael Trigg at Baylor. But Caleb Douglas, the Florida transfer, is really good. I think he had another stop before Florida, but after Florida before he got to Texas Tech, but he's been really good. Coy Eakin's been good. Reggie Virgil, I know, is on the injury report this week, but it's looking like he's going to be cleared to play. He's really good. So you got a lot of options here. They are, like I said, a really good passing offense. They rank 17th despite playing 3 different quarterbacks. 37th rushing offense, They can run the ball pretty well. Jacoby Williams is their number 2 guy. Cameron Dickey is really good. This is a very good 1-2 punch. And something that you see with Texas Tech that you don't see with a lot of other teams is the depth. You don't get a number 1 rusher who rushes for 746 yards, 10 touchdowns, and a 5.6 average to have a backup like Jacoby Williams who runs for 525 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 5.7 average. Both of their guys are averaging over 5.5 yards. That's really good. So let's flip back to BYU. Let's talk about the defense a little bit. Middle of the road defense, but very opportunistic. 45th passing defense, 61st rushing defense, but they are one of the leaders in turnovers. They really get they get back to the quarterback. Not a huge sack team, very, very good at getting pressures. It reminds me a lot of Missouri. Now, Missouri can get back there and pass rush, but what their DNs do, they get back there and they contain the quarterback. Sometimes it's a better idea because he can't get outside of you, especially if you have a mobile quarterback. Barron's not necessarily a runner, but he can get out if he needs to, and that might serve BYU really good here. They're 61st against the run, though, and against a team like Texas Tech, who has great depth at the running back position, that's going to be hard to stop. So that's one of the key matchups you want to look for in this game. Jack Kelly is a great linebacker, And excuse me on the pronunciation here. Safety, I'm just going to say the last name. Satuala is really, really good. I'm not going to even pronounce the first name. It's a lot of guys like that on BYU's team. But let's move over to Texas Tech's defense. I'm sorry. As I'm watching College Game Day, dude just missed a field goal. Excuse me. Okay. Texas Tech, defensively, like I mentioned before, number one rush defense. That's going to be hard for BYU to try and counteract, but there are plays that can be made on this secondary. They're 41st against the pass. What makes this difficult here is what makes it difficult to expose Texas Tech's secondary is the fact that they have possibly the best player in college football in David Bailey at backer. He has 11.5 sacks, comes off the edge, really, really good player. And Jacob Rodriguez is also a really good linebacker. This might be the best linebacker room in college football. Let's get into the weeds a little bit. Some matchups and some key points in this game. Big question, can BYU run the football? I mentioned they're the 35th rush offense. Bear Bachmeier is their second leading rusher. LJ Martin the first. LJ Martin's really good, but Texas Tech has the number one rush defense. Can BYU establish a running game? That's going to be a big deal here because if they can establish a run game, that helps Bear Bachmeier a lot. He's a freshman in this type of situation. That'd be great for him. Which team creates turnovers? I failed to mention the fact that Texas Tech is also one of the leaders in turnovers, forcing turnovers. So both of these teams can force turnovers. Usually in a game like this, you see one team really take that. So if one of these teams really takes that, which team is it going to be? Can BYU contain all of Texas Tech's receivers, tight ends, running backs out the backfield? Because their running backs, not just rush, but some, I believe both of them have over 250 yards receiving as well. So they do a really good job of getting their running backs out of the backfield, catching the ball. That's going to be hard to defend against. This point kind of ties in to my first point, but can BYU throw the ball if the run gets stopped? So you got to establish a run game. If you're not able to establish a run game, can BYU still expose this 41st ranked pass defense in Texas Tech? That's going to be a big question because if you isolate Bear Bachmeier, make him throw the football, that's when turnovers get made. And we know Texas Tech is great at turnovers, so that can be a big part of this football game. And this is kind of, excuse me, I'll leave that for my prediction. Okay, so Texas Tech is favored by 12.5 here. That's a big spread, especially in a game where you are the lower-ranked team. I know you're at home. That's a big spread. That would be 15.5 on the neutral field. Texas Tech's money line is minus 480. BYU's is plus 370. And the over-under is 49.5. Okay. I think Texas Tech is going to win this football game. I think they're the better all-around team. And I think Texas Tech, and this was going to be my last point that I said I was going to say for right here. Texas Tech has a lot of depth, and that's something you don't see now with the transfer portal and the NIL era. They have a lot of depth. Starters from last year are now second-string players because of how good the talent is that they brought in. And I have it on my sheet. I think fresh legs will prevail for Texas Tech. BYU will be with them. And then I feel like once you hit that midpoint in the third quarter, start the fourth quarter, fresh legs are just going to prevail. And I think Texas Tech can just lean on BYU. I don't love the fact that the spread's so high. But if I had to just throw a dart on the dartboard, I'd say that Texas Tech wins and they cover. There's not a game I'd bet spread-wise. The money line is not favorable if you want to take Texas Tech. If you really think BYU is going to win this game, bet it. If you are absolutely confident because they're plus 370, that's going to be a nice payout, especially if you stick it on a lay. Thank you for tuning in to the prediction. Let me know what you think in the comments. God bless.